This post was written by Hug and Siri of LSPD. When possible, we like to bring you the story of a build in the words of the people who built it, to offer a unique insight into their thought process and methods. Lines. The lines of a bike are often overlooked or misunderstood, especially when it comes to custom builds. Sometimes bikes just look right, and more often than not it's the visual lines of the bike that are a contributing factor. What do we mean when we talk about lines on a custom build? Well, two of the favorite to focus on, and a great rule of thumb for certain custom builds, is the line through the bottom of the seat and tank. The other is the line from the top of the headlight across to the top of the tank. A slightly raked, angled, line through the bottom of the seat and tank gives the bike a more aggressive stance, combined with a lower headlight that doesn't extend above the top of the tank, and visually you're on the right track to a well-aligned package that just looks right. Granted, these rules don't apply to all customs, but in the case of Greg's R80 here, it was an ideal application given the café direction of the build. Not the original owner of this LSPD custom build, Greg was lucky enough to pick up the bike after we had already completed a number of modifications to transform the bike from original. As is often the case with R series with reasonable kilometers, the bike was in good condition mechanically and didn't require much attention to the motor, diff, or brakes. We were tasked with designing a livery that was tough, a little more modern, and something that would minimize the size of the stock tank. Nothing's more slimming than black, so it was an easy decision to coat the center and the edges of the tank, cutting down the visual weight. The M Sport livery has been done many times before, so we reworked the hues and focused on the darker blue to carry the color scheme. Continuing the theme on an otherwise monotone lower half of the bike is some subtle stripes on the valve covers. A classic black café seat upholstery is tied into the M Sport theme with a red stitch. Seemingly more than the sum of its parts, Greg's R80 rides incredibly well for a bike of this style. Usually custom café racers are so stripped and aggressive that they're uncomfortable unless you're riding right on the edge, but with good seat padding, reasonable height clip-ons, mid-mount pegs, and a relatively short wheelbase, this bike is a real surprise packet, as Greg puts it. With a stack of other European bikes in the collection, it was only a matter of time before a BMW joined Greg's garage. An airhead motor, classic café styling, and a subtle M Sport livery make it a worthy representative for the Bavarian brand in Greg's fleet. We talk a lot about the lines of a custom bike and how good they make it look sitting still. But I guess the lines for this bike that really matter are the ones Greg's now carving through corners on the way to his favorite coastal town.